Welcome to another installation of Andstillboxing. I'm your host, Guy McKinnon, and I'm met here today in the venue by perhaps arguably one of the best striking coaches on planet Earth, Farid Samad. Sir, welcome to Australia.
Happy to be here.
Excellent. Enough said. Listen, I think you're absolutely fascinating. I've been doing like a bit of a semi-deep dive into your career and the people you've been training and asking around in the nicest possible way. And people only have to say very good things about yourself and your training methodologies, and even other coaches like, oh, no, I've seen some videos online and it's changed my perspective on training and throwing punches and things like that. Some of the material that you have out there on your channel on YouTube.
Yes.
But before we get into that, boxing has obviously been in your life for a very long time. And I'd like to know, like, where did it start? Like, can you just give us a brief overview of that?
Oh, it actually started in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Hometown?
It actually started with basketball. So I'll just give you a little overview. Basketball is one of the hardest sports I ever played in. Now, people always say that, oh, football is hard, boxing is hard. I said, well, basketball is 5 people. You don't really know when you're going to get hit because of basketball, the way it moves.
A three-dimensional game.
Yeah, and you're relaxed. The muscles, somebody call out a pick. And we used to get into altercations all the time. So I have to give thanks to the older guys in Philly who would bring boxing gloves to the gym or bring to the lot, which is outside playing basketball. And if 2 guys got into an altercation, they would put the gloves, you would go to half court, you would box, then you go back and play basketball, which was awesome. So, but we used to get to a point where it was like, this week it was like, I'm calling you out. We're going to have, like later, man, you're going to go at it fisticuffs. So we would do things like that.
Yeah, one-on-one and then one-on-one.
Yeah, so it was really cool, but it was all in like sport. Like, yeah, I can beat you this week or let's box this week. So I wound up boxing a guy named Ernesto. And I beat him up pretty good, or,
How old were
bad.
you?
I was like 14 or 15. I think I was 15 years old because I played ball was my thing. Everything was about basketball. Everything was about Magic Johnson, being like Magic Johnson and moving the ball, shaking. Everything was about Magic Johnson.
Were you point guard?
I was a point guard, left-handed also, but of course I was
Dangerous.
5'6" at the time, 5'5". Magic Johnson was 6'7", but I wanted to be like Magic Johnson. So we got into our altercation with the gloves. I beat him up really, really well. And then he started boxing. So he started going to the gym, neighborhood gym. He was boxing for like 4 or 5 months. And
Did he want revenge?
Yeah, of course. He called me out. I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kick your ass this time. And I was like, oh, man, you don't want none of this. I was just talking trash because I was really, really scared. Well, I couldn't avoid the fight or the boxing match or whatever. And we actually got out there. And let me tell you, I whooped his ass worse this time. And then after that...
Were you shadow boxing in anticipation for it?
Nah, I was just nervous. But when I went out there and I was looking like a movie star.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I was footwork, punching him, missing, slipping. And then one of the older guys was like, I'm going to take you to the house, talk to your mom, and you're going to the gym tomorrow. And I wound up starting boxing, and that's what happened.
So you got headhunted by one of the other guys. They're like, this man's got hands.
Yeah. One of the older guys was like, you need to be boxing.
Really?
And that's how I started.
Oh, so then you started training in Philadelphia?
Started training in Philadelphia. I went into the Army because I saw the Army had a boxing team, and I wanted to box, of course, and travel. So I went into the Army. And I went just for boxing, but I wound up being in the artillery. You have to do a job. But I was blessed to start boxing and did well. Was national champ, went to the won 4 armed forces championships, national championships. So, got a chance to participate being an alternate for the Olympic team. I had a blast.
Who was the toughest out of all the services? So you had Army, Navy,
Air Force,
and Marines, yeah?
There was none of them tough because I beat all of them.
Look at him.
I've never lost to nobody in the armed forces.
Right.
Like right now, I'm trying to get into the Marine Hall of Fame. I have a couple of friends that I've beaten up or won fights off of, and they're in the Marine Hall of Fames. And I said, I should be in the Marine Hall of Fame because I beat at least 12 of y'all guys already.
Are you in the Army Hall of Fame?
Yes, I'm in all of them.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah. But I'm trying to get in the Marine Hall of Fame because they got better rings. They got these nice rings that I would love to have. So,
and what's the rules around that? Did you have to be in the Marine Corps? It's like I whooped all your boys.
Not really, because Ray Mercer, who was Olympian, 88 Olympics, he just got inducted to the Marine Hall of Fame. So I'm trying to cross over and get mine.
Yeah, that's
the way to go.
Let's everyone comment below and let's get this man into the Marine Hall of Fame.
That's right.
Otherwise, he's gonna make a comeback.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong.
I know if we get enough likes, maybe it might change the opinion of everyone. I don't know.
Oh, you never know.
So during your time, essentially being a champion and dominating the armed forces. And then you obviously you had to branch out of the armed forces and start fighting, civilians, if you will.
Yes.
Like the guys.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge that you found out of those guys?
The biggest challenge is traveling and also different styles in different places. Like when I started boxing, every state had some killers, like Kabox, and you'd be like amazed, like, oh man, you go to the Nationals when everybody get together. So it's like you're in Australia, but you got guys in Penrith, you got guys in Perth, you got guys from, Sydney, and then they all get together. And so you say, oh man, this guy can box really good. This guy can box really well.
You get different looks, different styles.
You get different looks and different styles. So you take some of that with you, you throw some of that away. But it was like traveling. Traveling because you have to make weight, be on weight, and you have to travel point A to point B. So that was really the hard part. And then boxing 5 days a week. So national tournaments you will box 4 days or maybe 5 days in the whole tournament. So that was definitely tough.
And I definitely find like back-to-back days boxing, like if you get a cut or something like day 1, day 2, and then you're still progressing, that can become an issue.
Yeah, or if you get a cut, like if it's a bad cut, you're out of it. Like you can get elbowed. You could be winning a boxing match, get elbowed, so you're cut. So then the next day, the other guy gets to buy, and then you're out of it.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a flawed system. Just on that really quick as well, I used to play a bit of basketball growing up, right? Wasn't particularly good, whatever. Just played it because I enjoyed it. And a few competitions and all that, school and whatever it may be. And just to back up what you're saying, I found that basketball was one of the roughest sports that I played. I played American football, boxing, all these other, contact sports.
Yes.
That one got the most injuries.
Yes.
Elbows, this, that. Oh, it's like, I'm like, non-contact sport. I have no chance. Yeah, it's rough.
I found out the reason why is because you have 5 against 5. Okay, but let's go with rugby or go with football, American football. You have pads on, you're going to hit, you're prepared for it. Basketball, you don't prepare for it because you could be playing and then I could run somebody behind a pick and then that means you run into a brick wall and then you don't call out the pick, so that means I get a stinger or I get smashed. So it's just rough.
It's like the Pistons in like 86 perhaps.
Yeah, the bad boys.
They just roughed people up.
Yeah.
Like boxing match basically.
Yeah.
So who was your coaches when you were like in the armed forces and going through that amateur career, and what style did they implement on you sooner? Because I'd love to pick your mind about that technical side of the house, because I'm very much a boxing purist myself. Would love to know.
Well, my favorite, I had a lot of coaches because, in the military, because you've been in the military too, you know that people ship in and ship out all the time, every 2 years, every 3 years. So you're always going to be moving around.
Getting you posting.
Yeah. So Keith Graves was one of my coaches who I say he's the best technical coach I ever had in my life. He would start you from scratch. He would tell you why you're doing something, how to do it, when to do it, but he would show you and go through it with you step by step. And he would do it also because he used to box. But he was the best at technical-wise teaching you in the gym. Now, when we got to the boxing match and you're boxing in a corner, he didn't have that, but he had the technical stuff to teach from point A to point B. But when you get in the corner and you're boxing, he didn't have that, which it happens. So, it's a learning and growing situation. But I've had like 10 Army coaches in my lifetime. So Jesse Ravello was a coach who wound up '96 Olympic team. He was kind of a good motivator. I don't really think like technical wise. He could tell you, you know, you're getting hit with the right hand. You need to do this. You need to do that. He was more like, what the F are you doing? Get your ass in gear. So that worked for certain people. It didn't work for me. Anthony Bradley, Coach Brad he was from Philadelphia. He used to teach. He taught me how to beat people with one hand. He did all combinations.
Roy Jones Jr. stuff.
Yeah, he did all
Front hand
combinations.
options.
He did all the things that was basically with one hand. So, you know, you go through these situations. But
Yeah.
I had a lot of good ones. I had some bad ones though.
Oh, of course. Of course. When you went to you started rubbing shoulders at that national level and
Yes.
Olympic alternate.
Alternate.
What type of people were you rubbing shoulders with there?
Well, our team, the 96 team, is known in history as the best Olympic team maybe to have the most world titles. So I was around Floyd Mayweather Jr. I remember when he was Floyd Joy Mayweather. So Pretty Boy and Money Mayweather. But I've been knowing him since he was like 14 years old. So we still talk and kick it. Antonio Tarver, who was the first one to beat Roy Jones, he was on the team. Nate Jones was the one who fought against Cuba. Nate Jones is the guy who, when you used to watch Floyd hit the shield, the big guy, that was Nate. So Nate, another guy a historian from Chicago that knows boxing. Fernando Vargas was my roommate. You know, he was one of the youngest champions. Zab Judah, I wound up training him later in his career. So you got a southpaw mogul. ZahirRaheem, who beat EricMorel. We had so many different coaches as boxers back then. So we always learned stuff. We used to hold the mitts for each other. We used to do everything for each other.
That's sick because, like, you know, I think to learn something, if you teach it, it solidifies it in your mind.
That's what we're missing now today.
Yeah.
Like, half of these guys now don't even know how to hold the mitts.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even hold the mitts for your partner. Like, do partner drill. They just want to work out and then leave. Like, nah, you're going to partner up. You're going to hold the mitts for him. He's going to hold the mitts for you.
I mean, it even teaches you, like, get more familiar with catching punches, feeling it from the other side, as opposed just to sparring, which is just putting miles on your brain.
Yeah. So that's what it's kind of a lost in translation. It's like a library and some books that's been burnt. So that's what I'm trying to do and bring back. Because when I trained in Floyd Mayweather's camp recently, I had all kids because I had Curmel Moten, who was like 17. I had him at 16, who had just turned 17. I had him. I had Jersley. He was like 19 years old. And then I had Jahan, who was like 20, 22 years old. He was like the oldest. They used to call him Uncle. They were saying they were saying that he was so old. Like, because one guy's 19 and the other guy's 23. And he's like, you're old. So, but I would have them hold mitts all the time with each other. I have them do drills with you all the time. I have them come in the gym. If your ankle was hurting, like right now, you have a meniscus tear. But you would come
MCL
in the gym.
tear.
Oh, MCL tear. But you would be in the gym still. Like, there's no taking off. You're in the gym. You're going to be coaching. Now you're going to be like talking to them, showing them what to do. And then you're going to go through what I go through. So.
Yeah. It gives you a bit of respect for the other side as well.
Yes, definitely.
Well, just off the end of that, I do have a few questions now.
All right, let's go.
Top. So you're saying there's like that difference between someone that can teach, like, you know, the technical aspect, but then it flips to the corner. All right. So the instructions that you're giving in the corner there, what do you think is the key skills that's required for both? And what are your philosophies on that? Because the corner and the corner work is something that isn't really spoken about much. And I love that in between the lines and the gray areas, because people are like, it's a skill on its own, as you just said.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, what are you saying to them? Is it less words better? Obviously, it's somewhat individual, but like, what's the idea there?
Let me just maybe narrow it down. So when you start, your coach could be an introvert too. So, which he could be good at one-on-one, but when around crowds, he may not. That might not be for him. I've seen that too. I've seen guys who coach and teach really, really well one-on-ones, but when you get to a class, they're like flustered. So, and that could be like a big thing with a group. So also it's like sometimes you could be doing stuff in practice and you know what to do and what to say. But when you get under those bright lights, which is boxers too, because I've seen boxers in the gym look really, really well, could kick anybody's ass. Get under these bright lights like right here, and they just like,
yeah,
they can't perform. So it's like you have to learn. When I first started, I trained like the women's boxing team for the Army Armed Forces team. And I was always teaching, even though like you're in a boxing match and I've had to learn cornering wise. I'm telling this girl, she's losing this the last round. Instead of me saying like, if the person that I am now, that to then, I'm still telling her, look, you got to keep your hands up. You got to go to the left. You got to do this. But she's already down and it's the last round. So I would have told her now, me knowing boxing a little more, is like, look, we're down 5 points. You got to go all out. You got to do what you got to do.
Throw caution to the wind.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. You know, and you know, be smart, but you got to go in there and we got to get these points. So,
yeah. Right. So you're a man of few words in the corner, like.
Yeah. Well, that's why we practice.
Yeah.
So really, and I give the fighters the last week of boxing is the fight. The fight week is the fighter's week. We can do anything you want to do that week because the training is already done for the 8 weeks or the 12 weeks, or 10 weeks or 12 weeks of camp. There's no like robotic stuff. So I'll be like, look, what you want to do? If you want to just shadow box today, you know, you already made weight, you're already sharp. I'm not worrying about it. But also, I drill it so much that I try to drill it so much like Customato say, so you can't get it wrong. So I drill it. We stop. No, let's do it over again. Stop, do it over again. So now when you're boxing, it happens automatically. Now, if I see something, I'll say something. Sit down. Hey, you're not using your jab enough. You know, you got to double the jab. You got to triple up the jab. Or he's countering off the first jab. So double the jab or feint. That's how I counter the counter. Then I'll let him go in there and go. So I make them, me, myself, I'm a man of few words. So I make them breathe when they get there, sit down, breathe, relax, wipe their face off if they're bleeding or, you know, put Vaseline on, give them water. 30 seconds of that. The last 30 seconds, I tell them, or the last 20 seconds, because the 10 seconds that comes up, then you have to get up anyway. So I just tell them, hey, you know, you're getting caught too much because you're not doubling up the jab and you're going straight to the left. Go straight in, you know, or go to the right, you know. And I'm like, hey, keep doing what you're doing. That's it. Because we practice it already. So.
And how do you go about making like a game plan? Like you see a fighter, you're crunching tape. Do you watch a lot of tape? Not much. Do you talk to people like, hey, guys that fought him before, or, you know, coaches that have trained him before? Like, how do you go about that?
I love.
Is there much intel?
I really, really love boxing, and boxing is a small world. So you friend with people, and then you watch different things. But I'm kind of like, so Georgie Benton was the one who mastered, or they talk about him with the Philly shell. He mastered that. He looked so good doing it, and he wound up training the Pernell Whitaker, Meldrick Taylor, Vander Holyfield, that team, with Lou Duva and them. But when he was with Pernell Whitaker, he watched tape. He stayed so he could watch a guy. But Pernell Whitaker was key on not watching tapes. He didn't really watch videotapes that much. And I kind of like took that from him and picked his brain. I still watch boxing, but I don't like focus and be on a person that much. I focus on you as a fighter. If you're doing all these things correct, I don't care what he's doing. So if you're working on, when you're jabbing, you got your hand up. If you jab to the body and you're checking with your hand to block the punch because you're blocking the right hand now. If you're going over to the left, if you feint first and then you double jab, you see the right hand. So if you do all these things right, what am I worried about? What he doing right or wrong? You know what I'm saying? If you're using your jab, if you know your spacing and your distance, I don't really care what he does. Okay. So I still watch the person, but I can watch the person for like 10 minutes and say, okay, this is what he's going to do. That's what he's going to do. His footing, he has a wide stance, you know, and we work off of it. But I really focus on my guy getting better, doing what he's supposed to do, being an A or A+, and then, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
From rest, yeah.
You know what? I heard a really interesting, it's so simple and it made me, I'm like, I'm an idiot. But apologies, I forget his name, but Bakram Murtazalayev's coach, after he beat Team Zoo, he came out and he was like, you know, what were you saying, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, when I'm making a game plan. He said this on a podcast, and I found it fascinating. Very simple, but fascinating.
Yeah.
He goes, I don't look at what they do bad because they're most likely to change that. However, I look at what they do good because if they've done that well, they're going to come back and they're going to do that again. And we're going to use that to counter them. And I'm like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah,
do you agree with that? Do you have
it
any
does,
comment?
because if you have a go-to and I can counter the go-to or stop the go-to, then what's your go-to after that? Same thing with when Bernard Hopkins, I'm from Philadelphia, so I know all these guys. When Bernard Hopkins fought Trinidad, and Nazim was his trainer, Nazim, who just passed away, but his birthday was the same day as my birthday, which is November 26th. But Trinidad, when he loaded up his hook.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Mine was on the 25th.
Oh, man, congratulations. Savages for life. So when he loaded up with the hook, he moved his foot a certain way and did certain things. So every time that happened or he would load up with the hook, he would make that Bernard Hopkins smother the hook, not get away from it. Like most people, when they see guys about the hook, they escape and flare away. He made him smother it every time. What frustrated him, and he couldn't get it off. So
I love smother. Yeah. As a game plan, I love it.
Yeah, he made him do that all the time. So what happened, he always told, Nazim used to always say different slogans and stories. He's like, when a man...
He's a great coach.
Yeah. He said, when a man has a gun, you don't run from the gun. You smother. You grab his hand and you smother. If he has a knife, then you run. He said, this guy got a gun. So every time he loads up and you jump on it. You jump on it, you smother it. And that's what he did. And of course, Bernard Hopkins whooped on Trinidad.
Yeah. And it's definitely the same thing, like when you're a one-trick pony, essentially, like Deontay Wilder. He had a right hand sleeper. Yeah. But Fury, which probably had a bit more of boxing IQ, he was like, I can counter that. You got one punch.
Yeah.
Like, that's it, and like a good jab as well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you have to be a bit more dynamic, don't you think?
Yeah, you got to have, when you get to the elite, that's what I always tell people too. I train for the elite. I don't train for the average or the world champions, because there's a lot of world champions that's not elite. I train for the elite. So when I train a fighter, I tell them, I'm thinking that the guy in the corner is me. So I'm going to train you for the flaws and things that's going on for elite. So that's why I'm kind of like anal towards training and teaching and making sure you do it right all the time. So, and not just getting by, because you can win world titles and still not be elite. Yeah,
and like have been explode.
Prime example, Ricky Hatton. Ricky Hatton was my guy. I liked him, but he had a lot of flaws. And Floyd capitalized off those flaws. When you get to elite level and I also say this, when two elite fighters or two guys fight really, really well and you get into that elite level, the one with the basic fundamentals looks better and makes the other guy looks really, really like he wasn't elite. Earl Spence and Crawford. Earl Spence is an elite guy, but Crawford made him look like he was the worst.
Yeah, 100%.
So just things like that.
Yeah.
Ricky Hatton and Floyd. Ricky Hatton won some rounds, but Floyd smothered him, did certain things, but then you see when he branched out, made it look easy.
100%.
And Ricky Hatton was never the same afterwards.
My personal favorite Floyd Mayweather performance was against Canelo. A young Canelo, yes, let's go with that. 100% inexperienced, and picked him up, but it was.
And he's the only fighter that Floyd fought that got better.
Yeah.
Most guys Floyd fought, they didn't get better or they didn't learn from that or grow from that. But when he fought Floyd and lost, and he had just as many fights as Floyd at the time, but he was really, really young. Because in Mexico, you can fight every other week. And he was fighting a lot.
It's starting at like 14.
Yeah. So, but he took that butt whooping and said, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to be in the gym more. I need to not be fat all the time, because he was a chunky kid and he would,
Was he blowing up in between fights?
Yeah, plenty. Yeah. And then he just like, I'm gonna dedicate myself and look at him.
Yep. I mean, top of the game right now.
Top of the game.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it was a shame that Andy Ruiz, he kind of like, after he smashed AJ that first time, he just kind of like got the high life got to him, right? Like he got
Milky Ways, Snickers, he ate himself to death. But and
I love seeing him on pads though. Andy Ruiz on pads is just clap, 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 clap. Yeah. And I'm like, this guy's got power. Not a big man.
Yeah.
But
fast
speed,
hands. He had fast hands. I watched him when he was with Top Rank. I used to watch him in the gym. I mean, he still was a fat boy, but them hands. Like he would. I wouldn't want to see him in a parking lot or something like.
No way.
Because you look chunky. You'd be like, oh no, he's not. He'll run a combination off on you, and you'll be done.
Body, head, all the options, you're done.
All the options.
He started training with Canelo's guy,
for a while.
But he couldn't handle it.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think. I don't.
Got the bag.
Yeah,
happy.
I don't know the whole story.
Yeah.
So there's 3 sides to the story. So I always, when I see one thing, I don't really rush to decision making process.
The truth lies somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. So I just try to figure it out. But back to you, where you were saying. So in boxing, this is what I'm working on, or I'll be talking to people about. This is the only sport that you can turn pro no matter what. You don't have to, have a degree, or you don't have to have a prerequisite to turn pro. And the second thing is, we don't have no guidance or no counselors or anything. Like I used to train Lamar Odom, who's a basketball player. He's told me the ins and outs, how they have financial managers, they have different things and stuff like that. They had somebody like an older guy groom the younger guy, making sure he done the right thing. So, you're a kid, you wake up, you're 19 years old, 20 years old, you always been poor, 6 of y'all sleeping at the same house, and you go through that till you like 22, 23, you win a fight and you become rich overnight. There's still 5 of y'all living in the same house. What are you gonna do? At the person that, now I'm asking you, what are you gonna do? It's totally different, but you're thinking about a guy I was just sleeping on the floor last month. Then you get a lot of money.
Yeah, then got
you
it back.
spend it. Yeah, you spend it.
So, and they're not quite set up like, coming from like a lower socioeconomic background. They just want to spend it. They might get into partying too much, if we say it like that.
Of course, doing it all. But then, and you also say like, oh man, I can get another one. I got this fight and I made some money. I can fight it again and make some more money. Or the rematch is gonna be more money. Just things like that. So we have to like get these kids in line and guide them. That's why I do I hate the father and son combination / I love the father and son combination.
Why is that?
I've trained a lot of father and son combinations, which I've said I'm 99% sure I will never train a father and son combination, because most of the fathers don't know boxing, but they want to orchestrate and tell you how to train. You can tell me about how your son is and what motivates your son, and because you programmed him, but you can't tell me about how the art of hit and not get hit. So that's what I'd be saying. I don't want to deal with that. But as far as the father and son, how they take care of their son, they be with their son, they groom them, and they, I think that's wonderful.
What's some father-son combinations that you've trained?
Oh, wow, you ready?
I'm ready.
I trained Devin Haney. I trained him for he's like 16 years old, and I trained him for his first 3 pro fights.
You would have been happy when he came over and smashed Kambosos.
Well, I was neutral. I wasn't really I knew he could beat Kambosos though, but you got a boxer against a guy like Kambosos is kind of flat-footed. He got some things he can fix. He needs to work on. He needs to work on.
I'm a big fan of George, but it was just a bad matchup. Style,
styles make fights.
Yeah,
I like you.
That
I like
style. That style was just not ideal for him. I was just like, no, I don't like that. Bit flat-footed.
Yeah.
So Devin Haney, that's incredible.
Yeah, Devin Haney. I trained Tony Harrison. When Tony Harrison beat Charlo, I was his trainer for that. He came to Denver, Colorado to train with me, and he won the WBC title.
We love that.
Yeah. Then he didn't call me for the next fight, got knocked out. So,
Yeah.
Then he called me for another fight. He won, looked good, got the WBC intern title. Didn't call me for the next fight. Tim Tszyu gets knocked out. So, I just don't. I'm not dealing with the father-son combination. But my last one was the straw that broke the camel's back, or it told me can't deal with the family situation. I trained Curmel Moten, really good kid, teaching him about boxing itself. Coffee, he doesn't get a lot of credit. Coffee is the guy he's from Nigeria. He's Ghana. He's the one that trained Curmel first. He had him for a long time, lived with him stayed with him for a little while, training. Curmel's dad knows some fundamentals. He knows how to jab. He knows some basic fundamentals. But on this elite level, he doesn't really know. He doesn't know. But he's going to learn, I guess. But he doesn't know. He's put his son, kind of like the Devin Haney situation. I call it the Devin Haney rule, where Devin Haney's dad has put Devin with every coach. Floyd Mayweather Sr., Eddie Mustafa, and Curmel has followed that pattern. But when you go to different coaches, you gain a couple things, but you lose a couple things, because things that's like, if I get a fighter, I write down everything that's wrong, everything that needs to be fixed. I write it down.
Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, same thing like with Devin. I wrote down like 7 things that he needed to work on when he was an amateur, and he went with different people, and like 4 of the things that pet peeves of mine that still hasn't gotten fixed was displayed when he fought Ryan Garcia.
And what are those 4 things?
Well, his Philly shell or his shoulder roll, his defense is not really that good. He rolls off the shoulder, but his hands is really, really low. And he's not really catching the punches high up. He's catching the punches here. So that's one. When he jabs, he lifts his arm up like a bow and arrow. You know what I'm saying? So that's 2. And then his feet are wide all the time. Now, even though he has good movement, his feet are wide all the time. So he uses his upper body to move, so he can't get out the way. So, and these are the things that Ryan exposed, you know, when he beat up on him.
I mean, they fought a few times as well. That left hook's pretty dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah. So they fought in the amateurs plenty of times, but amateurs and pros are 2 different things transition-wise. And I always said to myself, or I tell people, that if they fought each other, I'm going with Ryan Garcia. Now, I don't see color. I don't see race. I don't see money. I just see 2 people, and I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win. And Devin, good guy. I like him as a fighter, a boxer, and he as a person, or the Devin that I've known. But if them 2 fought each other, I would pick Ryan every time, because
that's interesting.
Ryan can punch. Ryan comes forward. Ryan is not going to be scared, even if he gets knocked down. But Ryan is going to give you his all. You know, he's going to give you his all as far as like he think he can get you out of there, and he has. His jab is not a pushing jab. Devin pushes with his jab. So when he jabs, you go, oh, you see that. When Ryan punches, it just comes out. And then that also is hook. So I would always pick him.
Bit of snap to it.
And there's no way you're going to keep him off you. So, you know.
You're right. Because I always thought that Devin Haney, at the time when he's fighting around George Kambosos and around that era, I'm like, this guy's got one of the best jabs in boxing.
Right.
I think bang, bang. Like he was nice, distant management. The wide legs, but that's very Floyd Mayweather-esque, you know, defensively sound.
Yeah.
For the most part. Obviously, there's those things you've just described then. But when I saw that fight, I was shocked. And obviously, the whole performance-enhancing drug thing has come out, and we found that, you know, he was found to be positive. But with that said as well, I feel like, what was Ostarine or something like that?
Ostarine or something like that.
Ostarine,
I don't know what Ostarine is.
Ostarine is like a peptide type of thing.
Okay.
Right. And anyway, even then, like, it's not like an anabolic steroid where you're really truly getting, you know, pretty big strength gains. But even then, boxing isn't necessarily a strength sport, right? Yeah. It's a technique. It's a timing. That's how you knock someone out, as you know.
There you go. Yeah. So I could see if he was taking something where punches was bouncing off of him, or he was doing something that, you know, that benefited him. But, you know, let's go back to Devin. If you notice, they also took the Oscar De La Hoya route. So Oscar De La Hoya, you know, he fought at 132 as an amateur. But when they set him up for success, Bob Arum, they always fought smaller guys that would go up in weight, or generally smaller guys. So by the time De La Hoya fought, the day he fight, he's 147. 35, and he's boxing guys that's like 130, 135. You look at the weight difference and disparity, so he's bigger than them. So he's going to also look better than them. When he fought Ryan Garcia was the same size as him. You know, when he fought the Southpaw that he beat at 140, he was 168 the day of the fight.
He blows up, doesn't he?
Yeah. So,
like, he shreds up and then...
Right. So, but the day of the fight, Ryan Garcia, those guys are the same weight. Now he's fighting a guy the same size as him. In weight and size. So then, you know, you get what you get. But it's the way the system works and the way the boxing works. It's like, oh, you would get a little guy to come up in weight. He could be good, but he can't handle the big guy. So the big guy pounces on him, pushes on him.
Bullies him.
And then none of the punches that the other guys was hurting Devin, because he had so much weight on him.
Yeah, bigger man.
Yeah, but when he fought Linares, you see he got hit with the right hand with Linares. You see his hand, he was doing a shoulder roll, but his hands was down here. So it's like, man, his defense is not is not A. You know, you got to be, your defense needs to be an A in the elite part of the situation.
100%.
Can't be no C or C plus. Yeah.
I met Jorge Linares just recently in Orlando. Guy's so cool.
Yeah,
Just
he
such a
is.
normal guy. And
Yeah.
I loved him. I loved his boxing style. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
Like, just looks
He
so
punch with
clean.
both hands. Nice guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, also you've also had something to do with David Benavidez, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I started. So David, after the last fight, that's why I moved to Miami. That they were setting me up for success, which still they are. Mateo, which is Boxer Gym, which is one of the best gyms in Miami. You have to come down if you ever get down there. So I was helping him. I was training him for a little while because he was supposed to fight. First, he was supposed to fight in December, then January, now February.
This year.
Yeah, yes. So he's fighting February now, February 1st. So he got rid of his dad. Like, he had asked me questions about Curmel, because Curmel and him was supposed to train together. We were all supposed to have camp together. But Curmel's dad, the last minute after we ordered the tickets, he changed his mind. So, and that's another thing about father-son that I said I'm not dealing with, because there's no way in the world that I'm the middleman and you book the tickets for us and whatever, and then the day of that we're supposed to fly, he changes his mind. So it makes me look like the butthole, and it's just bad business. So I'll never, it's one of those things that you write down and say, okay, we can't do that one again. But he would always ask me, he said, I watch your videos, I watched all the drills you do and all the stuff you teach. I want to learn that. I said, oh man, anytime. I was talking to his dad at the time, but he wound up getting rid of his dad, or he's getting rid of his dad. And then I explained to him too. I told him, I said, listen, I'll never do a father-son combination. I said, so if you do decide your dad's not gonna be in your corner and you need me, I'm there. So I've been helping him, training him. But then he went home. He went back to Seattle for a little while, and guess he talked things up and he patched things up with his dad, and his dad is back. So they're in Miami training, and I'm here in Australia. There's no hard feelings. There's no conflict of interest with both of us. I wish him well, but I'm not going to be a part of it.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Were you involved in the Gvozdyk fight?
No.
Right.
No. That's when I was training Curmel for one of his fights, and that's when he had asked me to that he wanted to like start doing drills and start doing things, and I was like, oh, cool, yeah.
On this channel, we're a big Benevidez fan.
Yeah, me too. Huge fan of David. Still to the day.
Do you think it's the same principle in which when he was at
168.
168. That's right. He would bully these smaller people because he'd boil down and come back up.
Oh yeah, because he's naturally like
combos.
200 something pounds.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then now he went up to 175. 175.
Yeah, light heavy.
And then he fought Gvozdyk, and then that's now like you couldn't bully him as much. Yeah, he's a crafty Ukrainian, he's Olympian, like he's no joke.
Right.
But he's old, he'd come off a 2-year retirement. There's quite a few factors there that he should have blown him out a little bit more. Do you think it's just going to be a bit of an adjustment period for him at 175, or do you think something needs to change, or maybe that's a bit too heavy for him? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, insider trading is, and it's public record, so he had broke his right hand, his wrist.
Prior to,
in sparring or whatever the case was. So he wound up fighting with a broken hand, broken wrist, basically. So that was that. And I think he might have got a cut over his eye too. Or a cut that made him stop sparring or whatever. And then he had the hand situation. So he wasn't 100%. So insider trading was his hand was hurt. So we'll have to figure it out. But also, when you get to bigger guys, you're not going to be able to bully the bigger guys like you bully the smaller guys. So Floyd Mayweather always says this, and I was just talking to Chad about this, that everybody comes strong. Comes hard. Floyd used to always say, them guys always come hard first couple of rounds and strong. He would always use his defense. If you notice when Floyd, he only punches in single punches, sharp punches, jabs.
Sniper.
Yeah. But then 6th, 7th round, you see start running combinations off, start changing because the guys are getting tired then. So he starts
downloaded all the information.
Yeah, he's downloading all the situations, kind of like Tank does too. But Tank doesn't really have to throw a lot of punches. He throw 2 or 3 and you're out of there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he downloads it. He downloads it really, really well.
Where does he rank in your pound for pound?
I don't really have a pound for pound list. I just like a lot of the fighters, but he's up there.
Oh,
he's up there. And I can't put him at, because of he's accomplished his mission. You know, his first fight that he wasn't supposed to win the title against, and he just, okay, whoever fights him at 35, I'm picking Tank. You can pick out a name, say, oh, what about this person against Tank? So let me just tell you now, Tank. You don't have to, you don't even have to say whoever. Tank.
I agree.
Tank if Tank say he's going to fight you, I think Tank is going to win.
He's sleeping you probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree. At 135, like, he'll walk over you.
Yeah.
Like, when it goes up a bit more, the other weight divisions, don't know.
I really think 140 he'll walk over a lot of people.
140?
Yeah, I think
really?
140.
Like Paro?
I think 140 he walks. So I think 140, whoever he decides to fight, he wins. If he picks a fight, if you say Tank versus so-and-so at 140, I'm picking Tank. That's just me. Yeah, whoever he decides to fight. It's kind of like Floyd back in the day. When Floyd said he's going to pick somebody to fight, I said, oh, Floyd going to win that fight.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, Floyd going to win that fight.
And what's your opinion on, a lot of people say, hey, Floyd Mayweather cherry-picked a lot of fights. What are your thoughts on
that? People always talk. Like, people always talk negative and positive. Muhammad Ali used to say it best, as long as they come see him fight. But
it's prize fighting at the end of the day.
Prize fighting.
It's about the money.
But when Floyd was looking for all these guys, nobody talked about when Money Mayweather was Pretty Boy Floyd. When Pretty Boy Floyd,
sleeping people,
he wanted to fight Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu didn't want to fight him.
Tszyu?
Oh, Tszyu. I'm sorry. He wanted to fight Tszyu. He wanted to fight. He called out all the names because he wanted to fight. There's a man. I trained with this guy too. Cuban guy. He fought. It's not on mine. But he wanted to fight all the champions at the time. Nobody wanted to go with him. So when he wanted to fight Shane Mosley. When Shane Mosley was a lightweight, he wanted to fight Shane Mosley. He called Shane Mosley out. They didn't want to fight Shane Mosley. Didn't want to fight him at the time. So yeah. So he called a lot of guys out when it was his turn. But like the Shane
once
Mosley
he's A side, once he's the name, he gets a bit and that's fair enough.
Yeah. So it's like I'm picking who I want to pick. I'm the one.
Yeah. Once you're A side, you run the show.
Yeah.
Hey, quick questions on Australian fighters. Do you know a guy called Shannon Taylor?
Shannon Taylor.
He fought. He was a guy from Wollongong, New South Wales, which is about an hour and a half down the coast.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the big superstar from that area.
What weight was he?
He fought Shane Mosley when Shane Mosley was like world champion.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and like he lasted like 2 or 3 rounds or something.
Yeah, I remember.
But that was his big thing. The blaster, the bull-eye blaster.
I remember him.
Yeah,
I remember him. It happens.
It happens. Were you coaching Zab Judah when he fought Tszyu?
No.
He's one of the, like, what a boxer.
Most talented fighter I ever seen in my life. Okay, so I was on the 96 Olympic team, and I'm going to give you some guys. Antonio Tarver, who was the first one who beat, and he said he was going to beat Roy Jones. He actually beat Roy Jones in the amateurs a lot, but then he had during the 88, I think he was doing drugs or whatever the case is, and then he changed his life around, and in 96, he wound up going to the Olympics. He's the most decorated amateur fighter. He won every title in 1 year. I think he won the national championship. He won the international championship. He won the Pan Am Games, the U.S. game. He won a lot of stuff. So he was talking about how he was coming for Roy. He's coming for Roy. This is 96. He's coming for Roy. He's coming for Roy. Floyd Mayweather, so these are my 2 stories, is he always talked about he was going to beat Roy Jones. This is 96.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't believe him. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't believe him. He was Tarver used to always talk trash, all this type stuff. I'm a diamond in the rough. They just don't know. But I didn't. He talked so much shit back then that I just my skin crawled like that bug right there. So, but he wound up winning. Floyd Mayweather was another one who talked to me about the future. I was cutting his hair, and he used to always say that he was going to win the Olympics gold medal at 125. They were going to do, HBO was going to do a story about his dad. His dad was in jail. He used to call him every day at a certain time. They're going to do a story about him, and he was going to fight De La Hoya and beat De La Hoya. Now, De La Hoya is 147 pounds at the time. He's 125. And I'm not going to tell him I'm cutting his hair. I'm not going to voice my opinion like, you're not even going to fight this guy. But he said it, and I was like, oh, okay. So then you turn back the clock or you go forward and you see him go 130, 135, wins 40, wins 47. Next thing you know, he fights De La Hoya. I tell everybody. He told me in 96 he was going to beat him. He's going to beat this guy. I bet on Floyd. But we had him. We had Fernando Vargas. We had ZahirRaheem. All these guys has won world titles. We had so many guys in that era boxing, and it was just like, wow. But Zab Judah was an alternate just like I was. He was the most talented boxer in that bunch that I'm telling you about. And I'm telling you about all Hall of Famers, most talented. I would see him do moves and tricks, and I would be like, hey, how did you do? Because I'm a southpaw like he is. I was like, how did you do that? Like, when you did this, you did that. Well, how did you do it? He's like, I don't know. I just did it. And I was like, wow, amazing. But Floyd was the most disciplined fighter. He wasn't the most talented. Zab was the most talented. Floyd was the most disciplined fighter. And as you can see, the talented guy lost 10 pro fights in his career. The most disciplined guy didn't lose none.
There's that saying, hard work beats talent when talent's not working hard.
Yes.
And that stands true, don't you think?
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Floyd was talented, but he worked hard with his talent. And that's why he's where he is, and he's a billionaire. Zab Judah, was very talented, didn't work hard enough. Work when he wanted to. He has 10 losses in his career.
Yeah. Do you still speak to Zab?
I don't talk to him no more. No. We fell out of contact, but I used to train him. I trained him for 4 years, the last 4 years of his career. After the Paulie situation, I wound up moving to Vegas. I wound up training him for a while. So trained him for 4 years. He only had like one fight at the time, the whole 4 years. He was always getting in trouble. I mean, he was everywhere. He was on TMZ and everything. And then he wound up going back with his dad. He fought somebody, and then he wound up fighting again and got a brain aneurysm, almost died. So,
oh, no.
Yeah. So, but he's doing well now. He's doing well. He's doing his thing.
That's all we can ask.
Yeah, that's all we can ask.
Did he ever talk about and speak to you about the Kosuzu loss?
Nah,
Don't dwell on losses?
No. There's an inside story to that. There's an inside story to that. But I would say Zab Judah. So I've trained Zab Judah. He's from Brownsville. And I trained Danny Jacobs from Brownsville. These guys, the Brownsville guys.
Shannon Briggs.
Are one of the most talented guys I've ever seen. Even though I'm going to tell you these guys should make the Hall of Fame and they did really, really well, but I'm going to tell you that they're all underachievers to me because they have so much talent. Riddick Bowe is from Brownsville. One of the talented guys. He only has one loss in his career, ate himself to death, basically. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But one of the
he was so talented, and he should have been undefeated, just destroying everyone.
So
freak athlete,
underachiever. Even if he lost to Evander Holyfield that second time because of the guy flying in, all that type of stuff, but he still ate himself to death, with that. So that's one. Mike Tyson, who did accomplish so many things, undisputed, but he's like the situation, the environment plays a lot. I think is an underachiever, even though he was the youngest undisputed champion, youngest champion in the world. But if Cuss would have still been alive, or if he had Kevin Rooney still, Mike Tyson would have exceeded everybody's expectation because he was like the man. You know what I'm saying? Shannon Briggs, another one who was
let's go, awesome, champ.
Awesome fighter. Man, could do so much. Underachiever to me. Zab Judah, who was the 6-time world champ and undisputed welterweight champion. He has 10 losses. Still underachiever. With the talent that he had, he should be on Floyd level. He should maybe have lost maybe one bout or maybe two at the most. I never had him beating Floyd if they fought each other because he starts off really, really quick, but he dies out, and Floyd gets better as long as it goes. So I would never. So maybe one or two losses at the most, and then Daniel Jacobs, who had cancer, miracle man, fought twice, but he only trained when he had a fight. Him and Zab was the same. If they got a contract with a fight, they would train them.
Where's Daniel Jacobs from?
Brownsville.
Brownsville.
I'm telling you all the Brownsville guys. I'm giving you all the Brownsville. Right. It's the environment. Because I just named you 5 of them. 5. That 3 of them probably make the Hall of Fame.
And when you say environment, what do you mean?
So the environment that you come from, has a lot to do with the molding of your life, you know? So, and that's, they always, we used to say you could take the kid out of Philly, but you can't take Philly out of the kid. So it's the environment that molded you. You may act a certain way. You still always have that in you. And it's the same thing with the Brownsville guys. They're the most talented guys I've seen. I just gave you 5 gems of talented guys that you say, oh, I put my 5 over your 5. Like those 5 in the best shape of them in their lives probably could beat your 5. That's what I'm just saying. So, but their environment of, you know, party and I think all the boxers, especially the Brownsville ones, always wanted to be with the rappers because they always hung out. When Mike Tyson lost, he hung out with Bobby Brown till like 4 in the morning. They were hanging out in Japan 4 in the morning with chicks doing blow or whatever the case is. That was one. Zab Judy toured with Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? Just things like that. You're supposed to be boxing and you touring. So these guys right here
that's right. They're juxtapositions.
Yeah.
You have one's an athlete and the other one is a rapper where they don't have to be shaped. They don't have to sleep whenever they want. Just wake up and be creative.
Yeah, but they're creative at night. They do all the studio times. It's 2, 3 in the morning. You're a boxer. You're supposed to be asleep. You're supposed to be getting ready to run at 5. So it just don't mix.
Road work at 5?
Just don't mix. Yeah, 5, 4, 5. You road work. You don't supposed to be hanging out at the studio from 2 to 5. Then when you're going to run. When you work out.
Yeah. When you got to be grinding on the pads.
Right.
With that said, there's some actually pretty big fights coming up. So there's this guy, Australian guy, Liam Paro. Are you familiar with?
Yes, I am familiar with Liam Paro. He fights
Miami. He trains
Africa.
Miami, right?
He fights what's the kid name? We call him Africa for short. But they're fighting this weekend, right? In Puerto Rico or next weekend?
This
Saturday or next Saturday? Puerto Rico.
One of the two.
The 7th? The 7th, okay.
7th, Hitchens.
Yeah, it's Hitchens.
I find it funny because I was just looking like Hitchens' last fight. He's that very long sort of like fighter and all that. While I see Paro is very much like the, what was his name? The guy that fought Andre Berto and they had that massive fight. It was a really interesting fight.
Which one? Name? Victor Ortiz?
Victor Ortiz. Okay. I get a lot of Victor Ortiz vibes from Paro.
Okay. I see that. Yeah. I see that now that you said it.
And then Paro, Hitchens' last fight, he versed a guy, very similar style, I think. And he won, but I'm like, I think Paro's a bit better than that guy.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very interesting matchup. I'd like to know your opinion on it. Because I was so surprised and so happy when he beat Subriel Matias in Puerto Rico, in front of the Puerto Rico crowd.
Right.
I'm like, this guy won. I just hope they call it fair.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah. That's what I want too. In good boxing, I just wanted you to have the right call. I want the judges to get it right and not be swayed by the crowd or swayed by their pockets. I really think, not to get past the subject, I really think that one judge always judge a fight in the hotel room. I always think that. Like one okay,
right.
Remember when Floyd Mayweather fought, you just was talking about when Floyd Mayweather fought, what's the guy name?
Victor
Canelo.
Ortiz. Canelo,
Remember, you kept talking about like how he whipped him, but Canelo was young. Yeah. You know, one judge had it 114.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Right. So as I'm saying,
get in the hotel room.
That judge just fight in the hotel room. Yeah. I just like one judge. It's just crazy. Like you'll see a close. Okay, 114, 113. Okay, I see that. 116, 111. Okay, I see that because even. But then you see a draw. You be like, what was that judge watching?
Sharon Bird and Triple G versus Canelo. Sharon Bird, and then they had it completely towards Canelo. I'm like, and then I think they got banned.
Yeah,
from refereeing.
Or suspended.
Suspended. Yeah.
Well, I actually bet on a draw on the first fight. I won a nice little bit. I didn't say I gambled. I only bet $20. I won $220. Yeah. But I got another guy to bet for me. But I knew it was going to be a draw.
Straight up.
Yeah, because I said if he fought Floyd, and Floyd is the face of boxing at the time, and he gets a 114. And then the other two judges, got it correct, but he gets 114. I said, there's no way in the world they're going to go 12 rounds. There's no way, because they sparred before plenty of times. I said, there's no way in the world.
You've seen that?
Triple G. Yeah, they sparred before plenty of times. But
and you're privy for those sessions?
Yeah. Yeah, so I said, there's no way in the world that he's going to get this decision. you know what I'm saying, it's going to be a draw. And sure enough, it was a draw.
Yeah, right. That's fascinating.
But back to the Liam Paro Hitchison fight. Styles make fights, and I think Africa is one of the most talented guys. He just doesn't.
Is that your nickname for Hitchens?
Yeah, that's his nickname. That's what everybody calls him. But I just think he's really, really talented, and he can keep it long. Which, if you keep it long, it's a shutout. But he just don't. Like, there's a mental block, and it could be he's from Brooklyn. Ooh, I was just talking about the Brownsville guy.
I mean, talk to me.
I don't know. But there's sometimes, a broken clock is right twice a day. So sometimes somebody gets it right. You might say, oh my gosh, I can't believe he did. So me, it's just like, I don't know. It's a woulda, shoulda, coulda, or it's a if. So I'm not pulling towards nobody because I don't know what Hitchens is going to show up. If the one that showed up that fought the guy that he just edged the decision out of, he's not winning.
Yep.
But if he shows up like new money, like boxing, keeping it long, then he's winning. So
okay, right.
Yeah.
So it's whoever's going to implement their style is going to win, essentially.
Yeah.
And objectively, you just can't. You're not sure who's going to show up, so you can't.
What Hitchison's going to show up, because if Hitchison lets Paro get in, he's losing.
Yeah.
But Hitchison says, okay, this one, he has a very good teacher too. But if Hitchison says, okay, I'm staying on my back foot or in the middle, and I'm jabbing, I'm boxing, I'm moving. Every time he comes in, I'm holding, I'm pushing him down. Then he wins easy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you have to do that smothering style where they come in. I'm not going to let you unload on me when you're on the inside.
Yeah.
Tie you up, walk you back.
Yeah.
Probably not dissimilar to the way Holyfield fought Tyson. They come on the inside, wrap up his arms, walk him back.
Yeah.
Reset. Like
headbutting. That's what Evander Holyfield did.
Headbutting as well.
Don't get me wrong, I'm a big Evander Holyfield fan, a huge fan, but man, his headbutts was deadly. Like
that head was a rock.
Yeah.
And Tyson just flipped it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did you see after the fight with Jake Paul, Evander Holyfield tried to dip into that cash cow, and he's like, we need our trilogy. And he goes, and then Mike Tyson had the best reply, is like, our trilogy is our friendship afterwards. And I'm like,
I didn't see that part. We were actually driving watching that crap on while we were driving.
Do you reckon it was scripted? You know how people are talking about it?
I just think, you know what? When the fight came about, people kept asking about it. And I said, I have no discussion for this. I was like, it's just like something that I don't want to lose brain cells over. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to think about it.
I didn't watch it.
I was just like, it's just trash. Like I still watch it though, but I'm watching it while I'm driving. We're driving, but I was just like, it's just horrible.
It's horrible to watch.
Yeah. So I was just like, no.
Yeah. And do you reckon it's scripted or not?
Something was going on, but you Mike Tyson.
What is it?
Well, I put on my so I always tell people there's two things you can do when somebody tell you a story is laugh or cry. I just choose to laugh, even like I'm hurting myself, I still be laughing. I get stretched out. They're pulling and killing me. I just still laugh. But Mike Tyson, I said Mike Tyson, Iron Mike looked like aluminum foil Mike during that fight. You know what I'm saying? Just horrible. And he couldn't even, something was wrong with him. You could see.
Fareed is 58 years old. Cut him some slack.
No, listen. He couldn't even walk. He was like off. You watched him walk.
Yeah.
He was like off balance. Like he had vertigo or something like that. He couldn't even walk. I was just like, okay, so when he fought, he was 56 when he fought Roy Jones.
Wasn't he 54? That was 4 years ago.
Oh, let's say 54. That 54 version would have killed Jake Paul.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like he just looked,
So
I didn't partake in it.
I did a video on a bit of a thought. I didn't partake either. And I felt like, I think the title of the video was Whoever Wins Boxing Loses. So, and I said that, just say it's not scripted, just say it's like a legit fight. Mike Tyson, to implement his style, he needed that young man's body. He needed to be that 19, 20, 23. When he was hitting 35 or something like that, that was it. He was 6 foot tall against guys that are 6'6", 6'4". Like, how are you meant to win against that? So that style, that in and out, I think he needed the young man's agility and strength. What do you think about that? I'm wrong?
Well, he didn't fight a guy that was
big.
big and tall.
6'1" maybe.
Yeah,
6'2".
he didn't fight a guy that was big and tall.
Yeah.
He fought a guy that was like basically the same size as him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All he had to do was throw some punches or land some punches. Because he threw a couple, but he was there at the air. I was like, come on now. You know, throw some punches.
Yeah.
Aim for the chest. Hit him in the shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Bang the body up.
Do something, man. Yeah.
Depressing.
100%.
But listen, on the flip side, the man walked away with $20 million check. When I say $20 million check, people don't understand boxing. They say things like, okay, he got $20 million for the fight. That's a check for that fight of getting in the ring. Has nothing to do with the sponsors or people who backed him up. You know what I'm saying? Like when Floyd fought Pacquiao, I was there for that fight. I was in the whole camp. When he fought, and he showed me the check, when he fought Pacquiao, he got $100 million. That was a check for that fight. He wound up making 217 total. Okay? The Burger King guy that walked down the aisle with him, he got $1 million for that alone. But people always talk about that $100 million check, but I want to bring something to your attention. Pacquiao made $80 million. He had $80 million check. You know, and his sponsors, maybe he made a lot of money too, but I'm just saying, sponsor-wise, they made a slew of money.
Oh, they're huge.
Yeah, it's just like amazing.
Why do you think that fight took so long to get made?
Bob Arum. I think Bob Arum made that fight because Pacquiao, you know, Floyd called Pacquiao several times trying to make that fight. And he was like, we don't need promoters. We could do it ourselves. And he wanted to, you know, they wanted to just do it, but he didn't want to do it like that. So, but I just think that took a long time, you know.
Way too long. And I feel like, again, Pacquiao kind of needed that young agility, whatever. And then Floyd Mayweather, he got smarter, older, and his style didn't need that intense, that young man energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, styles make fights.
Yeah, and I'm just this sucks.
Yeah, styles make fights.
Controversially, you know, I was so excited for that fight. Big fan of both. I still haven't watched it. I've only watched 3 rounds from it.
Oh, for real?
I still haven't watched it.
Oh, wow.
I've seen highlights, but I've never watched the full fight.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It breaks my heart.
Yeah. I was there, so you know.
No, there's the flex. I was there.
Nah, I was there for the whole camp. Like I was there for the whole dog and pony show. I was there for 8 weeks. Like that was like the best camp ever. I mean, he got like a $2 million advance just for the camp. We got free shit like crazy.
Really?
Gave $18,000. I think every sparring partner got $18,000
For the whole camp.
for the camp.
Not bad.
Yeah. Awesome. That's $3,000 a week.
That's great.
You're not gonna make that. Like I had a kid that was he was going to go take a fight. He's like, I'm gonna get in shape while I'm in camp and I'm gonna take a fight. I was like, no, you're not. I was like, bro, you're making $3,000 a week. You're gonna make maybe $2,000 for the fight. It's a 4-rounder. I said, you may make $5,000. I said, why would you leave camp when you're making $3,000 a week and you're not even sparring every day? I think he sparred 4 times out of the whole camp.
And you're in there with Floyd Mayweather. You're getting eyes on how a pro does it.
Yeah. You got to come in. You got to be there. He picks you, you spar.
Yeah.
He don't pick you, you don't spar.
And there's your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
$18,000.
One other thing I find I'd like to know your opinion on. So you are a striking coach, obviously a boxing coach, but a striking coach as well. And you do a lot of UFC guys.
Yes.
How do they differ from boxers and how do you train them differently?
I had to learn and grow too because so they have longer stance because they worry about kicks and checking kicks. So I had to learn that. I have to give Tyrone Spahn a lot of credit, who was a Muay Thai world champion at 165, moved up to heavyweight, and he taught me the game about like striking, things to do. And Rashad Evans, who's I call him nephew, but he's not really my biological nephew, but he calls me Unc.
Yeah.
So Rashad Evans, he had really, really good hands, but his stance was a little wide, and I was just like trying to shorten it up. But he was telling me about how to check kicks and also defend the takedowns.
Yeah.
So I had to learn that part, and then I just adjusted to punching. So it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. I just don't like when you get on the ground. Because I can't help you, bro. If you get on the ground and we're in the street, I can help you.
Yeah.
Well, you in a match, MMA match, and you know, since somebody mount you, it's just like sprawl. Get up. Then when you get up, I got you. All right, yeah. Get hands up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I can't help you, so.
Right. And who had the best hands All right, let's break it down. Who had the heaviest hands that you've trained out of all the?
Shane Carwin.
Yeah.
You don't listen. You don't. As soon as you said heavy, Shane Carwin used to have my shoulders throbbing. Shane Carwin was the one that fought. He was heavyweight. He fought Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Had him hurt and everything, gassed out, and wound up losing. But Shane Carwin, he used to always say, "I got that ghetto booty." That's what he's always say. But Shane Carwin could punch. Like he could have been like I was trying to get him to do boxing. I said, "Bro, you should do boxing." I'm telling you. You know, the optics is, I'm going to keep it real 100%. I was like, yo, Shane, you white? That's one. You're going to make a lot of money. I said, and you can really, really fight. Because he would box, spar with pro boxers, do MMA. And I was like, bro, you hit, like, I was like, I don't lie to people when it comes to boxing or it comes to fighting. If you terrible, you terrible. Because that's what I say in practice. I might say, oh, good, that's nice. But I say terrible. But Shane Carwin hit so hard that I used to have to ice my shoulders down.
Wow.
Yeah.
And would he hit harder than any of the other boxers that you had?
Shane Carwin is the hardest puncher who ever punched mitts with me ever. Let me just say that.
Yeah, we'll use that as a soundbite. All right. And who had the fastest hand? Like just ba, 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 just like wow, like smooth, fast, you know, so a combination of that.
Man, I don't even know.
Devin Haney?
No, hell no.
Benavidez, David?
Nah, he runs combinations. I would say Zab. Zab had fast hands, but I caught him at the end. But I used to spar with Zab, and I know Zab personally, like from boxing. Zab had maybe the fastest hands that I had to hold the mitts for. Devin Haney really don't have fast hands. He has good hands, but I don't say fast. There's a kid, Jersey Vargas. He's I think he just turned 20. He has really, really fast hands. You have to look out for him. He's on a money team. He has fast hands. But I would say Zab Judah, fastest hands. We'll go with Zab right now.
Right,
but
Zab.
Jersey Vargas is the second.
Yeah, right.
He has fast hands.
Right. And the most disciplined, Floyd?
Oh, ever. When we say to be TBE, the best ever, like you have to, in any individual sport, you have to think of yourself as the best. If you don't think of yourself as the best, you're in the wrong sport, even though you may not be, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of guys is jaded. But he says the best ever, and I can give him the best ever as the most disciplined, you know what I'm saying? Like, by hands down.
All right, and just a quick one. Who do you reckon is going to win with Alexander Usyk and Fury? Well, okay, explain. What do you mean?
Okay, so Fury was winning the first fight.
Interesting concept.
Fury was winning the first fight, and he lost by a round or two. Well, he got knocked down. If he would have just held, when he got hurt, and he would have held, and then he still would have won the fight. So he was actually winning the fight, clowning, and he got hurt, and he didn't hold. I think that gave him a thought process of, okay, this is what happened. Like, it's not like he got smashed or he got blown out, or it's not like he tried to.
I think he just said that as well. I think he goes in his press conference. He goes, "I'm going to be doing what I'm doing. You know, do my thing, but I'm not going to be clowning around. More focus."
Right. If you're going to bet some money. And if you win, you got to give me a couple $. But if you're going to bet some money, you bet on Fury. And Fury's the underdog right now, too.
Are we talking KO? Are we talking points decision?
No, we just go with decision. Go Fury by decision. Yeah. If he KOs KO or Fury by win.
By win.
I think he's like plus 140.
Plus 140. We use different odds here. If anyone can bring up the odds for us, that'd be great.
Yeah, but no matter what, he's a plus.
Yeah, right.
So that's what I'm saying. He's not a minus. He's a plus. So if you go with him, you're gonna win.
He was winning the start of that fight, but I don't know if he gassed or Alexander Usyk made a correction there. But with that said, okay, I think they're both very smart boxers. However, my opinion in the boxing game is that during a rematch, the better boxer is going to win. The higher IQ fighter, better boxer, pure boxer that is, will win the fight. I think that Alexander Usyk edges him out in boxing IQ.
Okay. I like that. I like your thought process. But this is what, and I can rebuttal that with this. if Anthony Joshua would have been a heavyweight or acted like a man as a heavyweight and made it ugly, he could have won the fight. If Tyson Fury makes the fight ugly, he wins the fight because he's putting, let's say he's 70 pounds more than him. If he's putting that weight on him and that pressure on him, elbow on him, making it ugly, how do you stop a boxer from boxing? That's like what I do hate, and I hated about Anthony Joshua. He tried to outbox. He tried to lose weight to outbox a master boxer. That same thing, that's like I have a boxer and I'd be like, you know what? We're gonna box Lomachenko. We're gonna outbox him. No, you're not gonna outbox him.
Don't be stupid.
Yeah. You gotta make him uncomfortable. You gotta make boxers uncomfortable. You gotta elbow him. You gotta push him. You gotta push him down. You gotta hit him in the hips. You gotta hit him low once or twice. Where the judges say, where the referee says, you shouldn't do that. You disrupt their rhythm.
And that's how Lomachenko lost that first fight against that veteran.
Teofimo Lopez. You mean the first fight?
No. Lomachenko and yes.
Yeah. His first pro fight, or when he fought for the title. Man, and the guy had like 12 or 13 losses. I love this guy. This guy can really fight.
Salido.
Yeah. So Salido just mauled him.
Yeah.
Elbowed him, pushed him.
Came in heavy. Yeah. Everything.
Just did him dirty. So you got to take boxers out of their rhythm. Boxers box in rhythm. We all box in rhythm because our Sugar Ray Robinson said this, and it was amazing. I always tell people this because my white counterparts or my clients always say, I'm white, I don't have no rhythm. I said, no, everybody has rhythm. Your heart beats to a rhythm, because if your heart didn't beat to a rhythm, you would have a regular heartbeat and you wouldn't be able to do this. So everybody has a rhythm. You just got to learn how to master your rhythm. So with that being said is, like, you have to disrupt that rhythm. You got to disrupt a boxer's rhythm. You got to make it ugly. You got to make him stand in one place. You got to push him down. You got to make it really, really ugly. And I think Tyson Fury wins this one.
Yeah, right. And I just got the feedback just then. It's $2.25 to win.
See?
So for every $1 you put on, just the way the Australian betting circles work, for every $1 you're going to receive $2.55.
See? That's what I'm talking about.
For straight win. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right.
Go with the W. Get that money.
All right. Well, listen.
We betting or what? We going to do it?
Yeah, we might. I'm going to definitely personally hold you liable for any money that I lose. All right? Because, like, you're the man. I'm just a guy here. You're the man, and I'm going to do it. So, I want to ask you one last question.
All right, let's go.
All right. Have you ever had Vegemite before?
I did. I have Vegemite at, I'm staying at the Pullman Hotel.
Yeah.
And I go there. I go to eat breakfast. It's like from 6 to 10, and I get there like 9:30 every day. The ladies love me. They already know. They say, "Oh, you want the avocado?" Yes. But I had Vegemite, and it wasn't that bad. Like, people, and the lady told me, and I had mine with toast. I didn't have butter on it either, so I just had the Vegemite.
You raw dogged it.
Yeah. And I was like, it's not that bad. It has a tang and a little after.
Describe it to our American viewers.
It's a very unique taste, but you're in Australia, and like what they say, when in Rome, act like the Romans. So when in Australia, I had to taste it too. So it was. I thought it was pretty. I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was bad. And then when I had it, and I told them that I didn't think it was bad, everybody looked at me like I was crazy. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's very uncommon for people to enjoy it. It's one of those things that you grow up on, and if you don't, people are like, this is dirt. And like here in Australia, I'm sure a few viewers are going to resonate with this, but they're like, oh, bloody Skip, Mr. Vegemite, it's pretty funny. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't mind it. It's all right, but I'm not a fiend for it.
Okay.
Anyway, it's just like, Skip, like white people. That's what it is. Just funny. So tell me, you are training people while you're here in Australia as well?
Yes.
Yep. So like you're available to one-on-ones, group sessions,
24/7. 24/7. While I'm here, you have me. And you just got to hook up and call my man Chad.
Yep.
So I'm going to give you Chad's IG. You can email me directly or you could DM me directly. But if you go through Chad, because Chad is the one that they're holding me hostage here too. I just want you to know.
Yeah.
I'm here not under free will. So Chad drives me everywhere, which, I appreciate him for it, but they monitor everything I do. It's kind of like I'm in a federal penitentiary.
Yeah.
Because the federal penitentiary has all the nice stuff, but you just can't go home or whatever the case is. So that's how it's going. But They monitor me. They won't let me walk to the gym. I say, oh, the gym is only like a mile from here. I'll just walk. No, you're not going to walk. We're going to drive you.
Yeah, we're keeping both their eyes on you.
Yeah, so you got to talk to Chad, and I'll give you all the information, and we book, and we go from there because Chad's going to drive me. Like, if you're not coming to me, the gym is called The Jungle. So if you're not coming to me, that's Tyson Pedro's gym. It's The Jungle and Penrith. If you're not coming to me, I'm coming to you. So Chad has to do all the driving.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And Tyson Pedro is going to be fighting again in 3 weeks. That did get delayed?
No, it is delayed. It's now we just talked about it yesterday. I think he's going to fight January the 15th in Penrith. Is it Penrith? Yeah. He's fighting January the 15th or that week or maybe the next week, which is a Wednesday. So we're going to bring back. So in America, we're going to bring back Tuesday night fights, which is really Wednesday here. So which is awesome because Tuesday night fights was like a big thing in America. So that's what's going to happen. So now we're working on, I think I'm going to the WBC convention, which is like maybe next week, I think. Or I don't know when it is. But I'm, like I said before, I'm held here under free will. Not under free will. I'm a hostage here. So whatever they say, I basically do. But I'm enjoying it while I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? I already know once they ran the... So there's a lot of quotes that I have. It's called Faridisms, things you hear Farid say. Because I always tell all my clients to cry in the car because I don't want to hear their shit. And I will tell you that I know a scam when I see one, and I got scammed because they told me I was only coming here for a couple of days, like 10 days this time, and then the next time was going to be longer. Yeah. And then now it's over 10 days, and I don't... Oh, the scam was they gave me a one-way ticket.
There it is.
And when I got the one-way ticket, I had no problem getting into Australia. Normally, if you go to a different country, you don't have a one-way. You have a one-way ticket. It's hard to get in because they're thinking
you're gonna stay.
Yeah. But I knew something was going on when that happened. Right. But I'm here. I'm just here. Yes.
Yeah, we're just here existing.
I love it though. I love it.
It's good. It's pretty unique. Other side of the world. It's got its own things there.
Yeah. It's summertime here too.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying life.
Yeah, killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Miami.
Yes. Well, actually warmer right now.
Oh, even better. Well, I'm led to believe that you're going to start your own podcast as well. Talk to us about that.
So my podcast is coming soon. It's called Facts Over Feelings. It is coming next year, which is a couple of months. And I'm happy to be on your podcast. I was so ecstatic that who turned you? I think Khalil or maybe Chad.
Chad. I think it was Chad.
Yeah. So told you to talk to me, and one thing led to another. Did our due diligence research, and I'm here, and I'm just blessed. Even though I'm held hostage here, they're treating me really, really good.
Perfect.
Mom, I'm okay.
You've done the research. You're very suspicious now. Like, is this a scam?
Yeah. I know a scam when it's working. I'm loving it. Yes.
Can't wait. Well, sir, thank you very much for coming on. It's actually amazing to have such insight from yourself, such background information, and then understanding your philosophy of training. And I've truly learned a lot, and I really appreciate you coming on.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Until next time.
Thank you for listening.